today. If you have any comment, please share it with me. But sit back, relax, and let's go into the show. It will be a blessing if I hear your voice in the show. God bless you.
Women of influence. The glory of the Lord shine on you. Arise, shine, for your light. Women of influence. The glory of the Lord shine on you. Oh, the glory of the Lord shine on you.
Hello, my social media family, and oh my God, another great day. I pray that wherever you are having an awesome, summer, and the weather is good, and God has been so good to us. Here we are in June, and I believe that 2022 is still our year, so we trust in God for great and mighty things. And that's why we are talking about some of these things that will really help us to see what God said we should see. So we are still talking on relationship, and I said it that friendship, relationship is one of the best gifts God can give to individual. I was listening to a man of God, and he says something. He says that if you have one person, just one person in your life that you can call in a moment of pain, you can call that one person and feel naked, feel vulnerable, feel like you are the only one I can say this thing to. And you know that they are not going to be on social media and posting and talking about you and telling the whole world what's going on. But they will hold you, and you will have a hand to lay your head, or somebody that you can trust, really trust. It's a blessing. You need just one person in this whole world. Each one of us need this one person. So I pray God will give you that person. But guess what? In the same relationship is when we have all this abuse going on, when we have all this thing going on. And that's why we are still talking about it. It's better to learn in life. That's why I'm bringing wonderful guests, that have seen it. They are women of God. They are men of God that have experienced it. They have counseled people. They have dealt with people. They know what they are talking about on this topic. So you being here is going to be a blessing to you. And I want you to share it with your family. Tag somebody to come in. Let's have a wonderful show today. Just relax. If you are working, just take your lunch break with me, because I know it's going to bless you. I have one of my, I don't even know how to introduce it. This is a very young, dynamic, anointed woman of God. I look at how young she is and how she is passionate about ministry. And if you know me, I'm very passionate, so I don't deal with people who are not passionate, just get to it when they get to it, But this young woman of God is doing great things for God. God is using her and her husband, pushing the kingdom of God so strongly. And I'm so proud of her, what God is doing in her life. And she have joined me today. So woman of influence, please help me to welcome our guest today. I call her Lady K, the original one, okay? Lady K, you are welcome to Woman of Influence.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited about being here. And when you gave me the call to come on the show, I'm like, yes, I'm finally getting on the Women of Influence show. But I'm just excited about being on this show because it's been such an amazing journey that I saw you go through with this show, and you have so many amazing topics that are needed for this day and time. So thank you.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So we're talking about emotional abuse. Sometimes you don't see it because you don't have mark on you, you don't have black eye, so people think that you are okay, but emotionally you are scattered. And sometimes when you are scattered emotionally, it affects every aspect of your life. That one is dangerous than having, birth marks and all those things. So woman of God, when we talk about, emotional abuse. What is emotional abuse?
Well, emotional abuse is an abuse that is there to tear down the character of the total man. It's, oh my God, we can go in so many directions with emotional abuse. It's something intended from the pit of hell to destroy your destiny.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yes, so that's what emotional abuse is.
It's just amazing because sometimes because we don't see, I just said it, because we don't see, maybe if somebody have a black eye, you
Right.
can see that, oh, okay, this one is going through, or maybe a mark on them, you
Right.
see that. But that when it's emotional, when it's inside and they feel like they are alone, they can't share it. But what are some of the signs? What are examples for us to look at, for us to pinpoint?
Yes.
Can you help us with that?
Yes, I can. I'm glad you asked that because one of the main signs that is often missed by a lot of people is seeing like your friends and family members have a sense of low self-esteem.
Okay.
They will give you like red flags and say things like all of a sudden, like, I'm not pretty any longer. I'm not worth anything. I'm not good enough. And
Wow.
those are just some of the signs, but there are many signs that are out there, but it's just up to us to kind of like gaze and watch out for those signs. But yes, but the main one is the low self-esteem for the emotional abuse, because the enemy uses that abuser to come and attack the victim's character.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they'll go from being very or extremely confident to having no confidence at all. So that is a great sign to look out for emotional abuse. So,
Wow. So, woman of God, you see, sometimes you see somebody maybe very bubbling, very happy, going, and then all of a sudden, it's like they don't want to be part of anything. They are
Right.
grooming, they are by themselves.
Yes.
When we see things like this,
Yes.
how can we help a person like that? You know, because the signs are there, but they are not coming to you. They are not approaching you. You ask them, you know, how are you? I'm fine.
Right.
You know, so in those cases, how can we help such a person?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how you can help such a person is first being sensitive to the situation and to the person and what they may be going through, and knowing, going to God in prayer about how to approach the person.
Okay.
Because you can't just go any kind of way, because you don't know if that person is dealing with suicidal thoughts. You don't know what their thinking pattern is. You don't know what they're going through, even though you see the signs.
Yeah.
But just immediately making sure that you go to the Lord in prayer so that you can immediately tackle that situation to help that person. You don't overlook that situation. A lot of times it's overlooked because people may be going through their own situation and feeling like, I don't want to get involved in what they're going through, but we have to help one another and go to people to help them get out of that. So our main goal is to be pushers, to push them into what they are called to do, to push them into their destiny, to help aid them to get back on track, because somewhere along the way, the enemy has put up a wall to make them think they are not who God has called them to be. So we need to be pushers.
Pushing.
Yes.
Okay, so I've seen people that maybe sometimes they are in a relationship, okay, and it's happening. I just mentioned to you what happened in Nigeria, for instance. What saddened my heart on that issue is when the lady died.
Yes.
And she's not here to defend herself. She's not here to say anything. But then a lot of people came out and says that, oh, we saw this, we did this, we did this. And for me, I was like, so what do you do?
Right.
You know, if you saw it and it was that bad, why didn't you step in? Why didn't you report? Why didn't you say something? Now that she's not here and then we cannot say anything, now we are all back saying something. So when we see somebody like that, maybe in a church, you know, maybe at work, in a community, and maybe you mentioned something and they didn't kind of go according to what you said or something. Is there a further thing you can do maybe as a pastor, you know, or as a sister,
Yes.
as an auntie? Is there any extra thing when you maybe mention it first time and it didn't go well?
Right.
What do you do? Do you just back off, or do you,
No, ma'am.
what do you do?
You don't stop.
Okay.
That's what you do. It's
Yeah.
simple. It's not stopping. It's not giving up, because people have their own mindsets, right? So,
Okay.
and people in their relationships, they may seem to be listening to you in the time that they're going through something, and then it seems like they do the opposite
Yeah.
of what you have just told them. But you should go this way, or you go that way. So you don't back up, but you don't quit and you don't stop, but you keep pressing the fact that, hey, you may need some counseling. Hey, you need some help. Hey, I'm here for you. You just allow the person to know that I got your back, despite whether you're going to go with my decision or not. But you don't quit on your people, and that's just such a sad situation. What happened in Nigeria, because that's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just saw on the news, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I saw that a young lady there was murdered like a few days ago. That's interesting that you brought that up, because it was the same situation. She was not married to this young man, but she had a child with him, and he literally killed her because she no longer wanted to be with him. So I can imagine she was going through a lot of emotional abuse and physical abuse. And she didn't want to be with him, so he decided to end her life, which is not right. But I saw on the post, because I was digging a little deeper in the comments just to see what people were saying about it. And I saw that one of her sisters was like, I saw the signs you called. She called out for her sister. She called out for help.
Wow.
And her sister didn't do anything about it.
Gee.
And it's so sad, because now she's saying, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and now she wants to and she can't. And so the thing is that we just have to keep pressing. We have to keep pushing on them. We have to go get our loved ones and our friends, if we really say that we love them, to get them and pull them out of that situation through prayer if they won't move physically, you know, and through fasting and seeking the Lord, because we have to show them that we love them. But we cannot stop on, you know, trying to get our loved ones out of those situations, because that is to me, one of the greatest weapons of the enemy is to tear down what you think about yourself, so that you won't move further in your future.
That's it. And woman of God, this another one happened, I think, maybe, if I'm not mistaken, like 3 weeks ago, and it's right here in Gwinnett County.
Yes,
I think it's
heard about
happened at Loganville or something like that.
I heard about that.
That this lady was in a relationship, you know, with this guy. They even have a child, and what happened is the lady decided, you know, I can't do this. It's too much abuse here and there. So she decided to get out.
Wow.
And he killed her and killed himself.
Wow.
The baby was in school, so the baby was safe. But I was like, didn't we see any sign?
Yes.
And I mean, you have been in this relationship for a while. You have a child, and you know, sometimes it's so sad. But can somebody be in a relationship and not know that? Can somebody be in abuse in a typical relationship and not know that they've been abused?
I believe that they know that they're being
Okay,
abused.
that's it.
I strongly believe that they do know that they're being abused. It's just they are allowing love, or what they think is love,
that's
to get
it.
in the way,
That's it.
to keep them, because they're holding on to history.
Ah.
And so if we can learn how to let go of history, so that we can, you know, have better for ourselves in our lives, then we will all be in a much better place. And if I be transparent, we've all been there. All of us been there in some way or form, whether it's been in a relationship, whether it's been with your family or friends, holding on to things that we know that are not good for us. And I even think about, I don't know why God is dealing with me this way right now, but about even the way we eat. We know that eating McDonald's
it's not good.
I ain't mad at you if you like McDonald's, but we know that it's not good for us. But because it tastes good, we keep on going after it. You know, because of the taste, and because we can't let go, because it might be our favorite thing. So I kind of like, you know, paralleled it with that. It's like we have to start learning to make up in our mind that we're sick and tired of what the enemy is doing to us.
Yes.
And we holler that we want change, but our actions show different. So we have to make up our mind and then put faith on it.
That's it.
And trust God that he'll care for us, because sometimes a lot of the women are in relationships where the man is taking care of them. And because of their abuse and that control over them, a lot of them are scared to get out of it because they threaten that I'm going to hurt you, you know, your kids, your family. And, you know, these women believe that, you know. And so that control, that spirit of control, it ain't nothing nice. And it will hold people in places that they were supposed to get out of a long time ago. But I come to tell you today that you can be free. If you make up your mind and go to God in prayer, because prayer works and it changes things and it will get people out of a lot of things. And I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way. But I put prayer on everything that I do now before I do it, because I don't want to be in bondage, you know.
That's it.
And so that abuse is a form of bondage.
Okay.
And especially mentally.
Mentally.
And I heard you say earlier about people getting physically abused.
Yeah.
And the mental abuse is worse.
It's
sometimes.
worse.
It's all
That's
bad.
it.
Don't get me wrong. Because nobody wants to get beat. But I remember my mom, Dr. Sim, saying in her book that she would have rather been beat than having the mental abuse. Because it was like that was, you know, temporary. But once that abuse is rooted in you, that thing can linger on for a long time. And we got to get that broken, you know, and destroyed.
And destroyed.
Or whatever. So, yes.
Wow. If you are joining us, we are talking about emotional abuse today. And I have Lady K with me. And Lady K, can you please let us know your church and what you do with your husband?
Yes,
let's put that one in. Yeah,
I'd be happy to.
Yes.
Yeah, so my name is Pastor Lakeisha Spears, a.k.a. Lady K. I don't go by titles. Keisha is fine, but I know my mom will get me later. But yeah, so I'm a pastor at World Shakers Church in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and alongside my husband is senior pastor, Dennis Ray Spears Jr., and we have been pastoring for almost 10 years. Well, about 9 years now, but he's been pastoring a little longer than that. But yeah, so we're excited and we're on fire for the Lord, and I'm just happy to be here today.
That's good. So this dynamic woman of God, okay? So you see, women of God are beautiful. When you serve God, God makes you so beautiful. Look at how gorgeous she is. So we are talking about abuse, emotional abuse, and because sometimes we don't see it, we push it aside, you know, but please, if you are going through any emotional abuse, we are all here, okay? You can inbox me. I will mention your name. It's not important for me. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not saying I'm better than you because I'm not going through it. I think that God has put me here to do this show for you, okay? It's for you. So if you are going through anything that you want somebody that you can trust and talk to, please, I am here. You can inbox me and we can talk. We can see what we can do to help you. I am in a lot of situation with people. I help domestic abuse women secretly. Nobody know. I'm part of those people, you know, so there's a lot of things that we do in the background that nobody have to know, nobody know. It's just between me and you, okay? So please reach out. We can reach out to Lady K. She's on social media, Facebook. You can search her. You can reach out. These are people that God has put in here to really help us to go through some of the things that we go through that we think we are in alone. You are not in this alone. There is help. So please, if you're being abused, let's seek help. Okay, this is what the show is about. Let's seek help. Woman of God, you know, sometimes when we are in relationship and, you know, the name calling. Oh, my God. Oh, you are too skinny. Oh. You know, you are too fat. You are. And sometimes we think it's just, oh, what is it? It's nothing, you know. But how abusive is name calling? How abusive can that be?
It's extremely abusive because maybe at first, when you first get called it, whatever name that you get called emotionally by the abuser, it may not hit you at first, but then what the enemy will do, he will start using other people. He will use family members to start doing the same pattern because he's trying to place that root in you to make you think or believe that you are something that you're not.
Wow.
And so it's extremely, extremely abusive. And because the Bible says there's power in our tongue, right? So words are powerful, but it's up to us to receive or throw away or put back, you know, whatever is not for us, or, you know, but a lot of times we'll be in a situation and we'll start feeling down and sad about ourselves, and the enemy will start to expose fake things to make you think that this is who you are and you're not. So it's extremely, extremely, extremely bad with the words.
With the words.
Yes.
And you know, the woman of God just said that words are powerful. You know, words create things. So maybe you are just throwing words and you think, oh, it's just words. No, it's creating, you know, bad things in whoever you are throwing those words are. And what woman of God I've noticed is you can't take the words back.
Oh my God.
That's the sad aspect. You cannot take the words back. So when you tell me I'm foolish, you cannot come tomorrow and say that, okay, you are not foolish. You know, it's done.
Yes.
You know, so I think we have to be very, very careful about the words that we use. It's abuse. It's part of abuse. You cannot say that you are insulting somebody and it's just that. But woman of God, I want to ask this question. Why sometimes the abuse in church, okay? Abuse in church, sometimes we overlook it most of the times. Yes. Is it because we are shameful to talk about? Or is it because when Paul says that some things we don't even have to be mentioned in church because it's so shameful? Yes. So why do we sometimes, what is the deal? Is it because we don't want to talk about? Is it because we are ignoring it? Why do we do that sometime in church?
I believe that we are ignoring it. Just like a lot of other topics that won't be mentioned in church. And if you want to talk from a leader's perspective, what I have witnessed is leaders not wanting to lose people. They will see, which is not right. Not want to lose the money or the income that is coming because their focus is not where it's supposed to be. And it's not talked about because of their own pride of whatever, you know, they have, because they not wanted to, I guess in a sense, think that they may be breaking up a family or, you know, because it's like people can come to you and talk to you about things, but if you're not addressing it, you're just as bad as the abuser, if not worse, you know. And so, it's not talked about because the leaders may be doing the abusing too.
I think you have said it. That's the right thing.
And it's the truth. I'm sorry, but we have to be transparent because we've all been in church all of our lives. And we have seen leaders abuse. We have seen, you know, people abuse leaders. You know, it goes both ways.
Both ways, And you know, I was telling Lady K before we came on stage that, you know, even doing this show, the amount of, you know, women in ministry, let me put it that way, that have reached out to me. And that's why it's been 2 months we are still, you know, talking about this thing. Because I don't want to just come here with topics and just be talking. This is a ministry. It's to help the body of Christ. And so with all the inboxes that are coming, I want us to stay here a little bit because this thing needs to be talked about. And the reason why I'm doing Woman of Influence, God told me there are going to be topics you can't use the Sunday pulpit to talk about, but I want you to address them on the show, and that's why we are here. And it's sad when a leader of a church, an elder, pastor, bishop, whatever we call ourselves, you are abusing either your kid, your wife, you know, you are abusing somebody. When you are doing that and somebody come to you, it's like when you are abusing your wife and somebody come to you and say that my husband is abusing me or my wife is abusing me. Of course, you will not be able to say anything because you are doing it. It's just yours haven't come public yet. Okay, but these are some of the things that make Christianity being laughed at You know, these are some of the things that make people call us hypocrites. Because it's like we are doing it and we are covering it and we come out and talking about somebody else doing it. So please, you know, not just a woman of influence, but I'm putting my position here.
Yes.
As a pastor, I am begging my pastors, okay? If you have an issue, please seek for help. Don't be a leader that is doing what you are not supposed to do, because then you are not helping anybody. You are not helping yourself. You are not helping your congregation. You are not helping the people God have asked you to lead. So if you need help, this thing sometimes you need counseling. Okay, you need counseling. You can't be a normal leader. God have called you, anointed you, and you are abusing your wife. I mean, you are mental. You need help. Okay, just seek help, because it's not the right thing. It's just not the right thing. Woman of God, let me ask another question.
Yes.
Let me ask another. You were doing just an awesome job here.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
so sometimes is it making unreasonable demand? You know, sometimes people you are in a relationship and they just make a very unreasonable demand. You can't wear that, you know, you can't eat that. You can't wake up when you have to wake up. You know, just being very, very unreasonable. And sometimes, oh, just because he loved me. No, he's a bully.
That's
I call
right.
them, you know, he's a bully or she's a bully, one of them. Yeah, you know, but is it okay in a relationship with unreasonable demand? Is it okay?
Absolutely not. It
Yeah.
is not okay to make unreasonable demands, because a person will never meet the expectation of the demand, because we're human and we always will have error, or, you know, and they may do it because they're being controlled by the unreasonable demand. And then when they, you know, make up in their mind, like, look, they're not going to control me anymore. This man or this woman is not controlling me any longer. Then they don't meet the demand, and then here comes the name calling and the blows and, you know, and this and this and that. So, and you ought to know your counterpart. You ought to know your counterpart and what they are capable and able to do. So, but when people are operating in a spirit of control, they don't care what someone cannot do or not. They just want them to do what they want them to do. And so, yes, it's a lot of unreasonable demands, even in ministry. It's a lot of unreasonable demands with, it's okay to push people, but if you know they're not at that level yet, you need to take baby steps, you know, before just thrusting them into positions. I see people get thrusted, or people walking into things that they were not supposed to walk into prematurely, and then when they crumbled and failed, or they were not able to get back up. But yes, so unreasonable demands should not exist, because the only person I know that can meet every demand was Jesus.
That's it.
And so, so when it comes with that emotional abuse, the abuser does not care how they speak to the person. They don't care what type of demand they put on the person. They just want what they want when they want it and how they want it.
Wow.
So, yes.
Okay, we have a question here from Akosia. She says that, she said the question is, how do we know a pastor, leader of a church have abusive traits? How do we know? Okay, so the question is, how do we know a pastor or a leader is in an abusive trait?
Yes.
You want to,
yes, I'll address it. Hello, how are you?
Yeah.
And everyone else that is on today. So how we would know is that we would need to come to church to get discernment, a spiritual discernment of our own. A lot of times, I remember sitting in church for years as a little girl, and just doing the antics, doing what we do at church, and then going home. But I was not sitting there making sure that I was getting the word. And, you know, so when I got older, I began to open up the Bible finally. I've been in church all my life. I know how it goes. They shout, they dance, they holler, they scream, they hoop, they holler. But I was not getting it for myself. So what I would suggest to anyone in this type of situation is to go to the Lord in prayer so that he can speak to you. See, a lot of times people think that they have to wait for the prophets and the pastors and the elders or everybody to give them the word, when God is giving you the word in the Bible the whole time. So And then he would give you that spirit of discernment, so then you would know that the type of leadership that you're under is not right, or if the pastor is doing, because a lot of times they will hide what they're doing. And it's crazy because earlier you mentioned that how can a leader teach somebody on emotional abuse when they are an emotional abuser themselves, because they are in hiding, and so they will operate in, you know, in error because they're in hiding themselves. And a lot of times I know the wives, they'll sit there and just be looking at them like they crazy, like, how you gonna counsel somebody? And we need counseling ourselves. So I suggest counseling to people in the African American community. A lot of us say, hey, we don't need counseling. We can fix. Jesus will fix it. Jesus will fix it. But he put the counselors here to help us.
For a purpose.
Yeah, so utilize the tools that God has given us. And I thank God, because in my own marriage, I've been married for, it'll be 22 years this month.
You look so good to be married for It means Pastor is doing what? Pastor, we salute you. I know you're watching. We thank you for taking care of her for 22
years
22
married.
years, and she doesn't look at it at all. So it means you are doing an awesome job. It means Pastor is doing an awesome job, because you don't look stressed. I always say that if you want to see what a man is doing, look at their wife.
That's right.
If their wife look old when they are not supposed to look old, if they are always stressed, it means that the man is not doing nothing. So, Pastor, you are doing an awesome job. We salute to you. We salute
you.
you
So much.
That's so good. Wow, 22 years. That's awesome.
We got married, I was 18 years old.
Wow.
So, but God, it was not always easy. And we went through some emotional, if I could be transparent, we went through emotional abuse amongst each other, because we were kids getting married, and we were, you know, I just graduated high school and I went right into a marriage, and you know, and so we had to overcome some things in our relationship. And a lot of times leaders won't tell you where they've been.
That's it.
And they won't tell you about how God brought them out. And I don't like the facade of that leaders are just perfect. And I don't like the facade of people putting leaders up here. We're not God.
That's it.
We can still make mistakes, but it's up to us, because we accepted this call to keep in alignment and stay on track so that we can lead effectively.
Perfect. So. That is so awesome. We have another question here. Let me open up. The same sister, she said, what is the church doing to help married couples, those abused, who are leaders of churches, knowing, I think, so it's how can we help those who are in relationship in the church? Knowing that something like that is going on, the issue is going on. How can we help, you know, as leaders, as a church? And in fact, before Lady Ike say anything, I want to say that, you know, we believe that God don't just bring people to us, but God bring people to us for us to be a blessing to them. We don't see a number, we see a family. So when you are part of the church family, it's our responsibility as pastors to make sure that every aspect of your being is going right. And if we know, because one of the things is sometimes leaders don't know what's going on, because if you don't come and inform us what is going on, we won't know. But once you inform us, we will do everything in the power and the grace that God has given us to step in and do something. I mean, I've been pastoring with my husband more than 20 years now, and we don't entertain abuse, not in any way. That we entertain abuse in any way. Once we know, we're going to make sure that we mention something and do something about it. So, Lady, how do you answer that, please?
So I would say the same thing that you just said, that the leaders, we don't know everything. If you don't bring it to us, we wouldn't know to address it. And a lot of times we do see things on people, but God doesn't specifically show you every detail about someone's life. And so sometimes people look at the leaders like, you're supposed to know. No, I know that I see something, but, you know, and leaders, we do check in, like you were saying, with the people to let them know, hey, I'm praying for you. I love you. We just got to continue to say, I'm loving on you. And I believe she said something about just in the church, like in general. So not just the pastors, but there should be other elders. There should be a team in the churches to to tackle this thing or this problem that someone may be going through. And a lot of times people want to be confidential too. They don't want to, they don't want their business out here. And I want to bring it back to the African American community. I know in my family, just growing up, it's like, what go on in my house stays in this house. So, but we got to break that cycle because people are not getting help. People are not getting free because they're feeling like, well, it happened in my house, so I got to keep it, and I only could tell a few, and then they're like silently suffering. So we got to break that cycle. But yeah, so in the churches, we should all have a team. And if we don't have a team, we need to get a team so that we can all, you know, assist and help. And you don't have to tell someone's business to, like, their full business for them to get help. You know, everybody wants to find out or know everything about someone's business, but you don't have to tell everybody's business to get help. You can just do something, for example, and say, hey, I need you to pray for this sister. She's just going through a great deal of stress and trouble, and God will begin to reveal to you.
Okay,
so
that's good. Okay, so she wanted to ask, like the pastors, okay, the leaders and their spouse that are being abused. Who is looking after them? Because, I mean, which is a very great question. Thank you, Akos.
That's a good question.
Yeah, this is a very good question. She really wanted us to understand. Okay, so she says that, I'm asking who is looking out for pastors and their spouse who are being abused. Because as pastors, we are looking out for everybody. But when the pastor's wife, oh my God, thank you, lady. When the pastor's wife or the pastor is being abused, who can help them? This is
a
message.
She got me on fire right now.
I'm telling you.
Especially when you're a pastor's wife, because a lot of times I know we all been through a situation at some point in our lives where we felt like no one was there for us. It's like, God, you got me pouring out to your people, and you got me praying for your people, but who's praying for me? And I promise you, as soon as you go to the Lord, he will begin to put you on somebody's mind, and it could be someone that you don't even talk to like that. And I've had many of situations like that where it's like, I know I could go to my mama, but it's like I need somebody else. But you can't go to everybody either, because of being a leader, then they wouldn't understand unless you're walking into, you know, walking in leadership. But it would be nice to go to other leaders, and just to be transparent and be honest, a lot of leaders aren't for each other because it's such a competition. And it's really sad. But the answer to the question is you have to go to God. And it's awesome because some people do have people that they can go to. Some leaders can go to other leaders, but unfortunately, in a lot of cases, you can't go to other leaders.
And let me use this to educate us. Okay, ministry is heavy. Ministry is heavy. Please, don't stand alone in ministry. Don't never stand alone in ministry. You need what I call spiritual fathers that are praying for you. You need mentors. You need a friend. I always say, I don't build a pulpit friend. You preach for me, I preach for you.
Come on.
I don't do that. My friendship is not about pulpit. I have a lot of friends that have never preached on my pulpit because that is not why you are my friend. I don't do pulpit friendship. Oh, just because you came and preached for me, so no. And earlier I said that I heard a man of God who was saying, and I've heard Bishop T.D. just also say this thing, that you need one person in your life. That when things are not going, you'll be able to call that one person and feel so naked that they are not going to judge you. Oh, so you are that a powerful woman of God and your husband has been beating you? No, nobody is going to judge you. You need just one person. So you need a person like that in ministry. Don't stand alone. You need a spiritual father. Me and my husband have overseas. We have fathers that if anything, I pick one call and I call my spiritual father, he call my husband, everything will be straight. You need that, okay? So you need people that can speak into your life. You need people that will call you and say, hey, this is what God is talking to me about you. How are things going? How are ministry? You know, my spiritual father will sometimes call us, especially our anniversary. Hey, how are things going? You guys are doing very well, you know. And normally our anniversary, he will call me because he always says women who. So he will call me, ask how are things going, is ministry interfering with marriage, how are you guys doing? And all. You need people that will speak into your life.
Yes.
So it's very important. If you're a pastor's wife and you're being abused, please, you need to go to your spiritual father.
Yes.
You need to go to your mentor. You need a friend. Okay, you need a friend that you can talk to for them to help you. Don't stay in there because each one of us needs somebody to speak for us sometimes.
Yes.
So
yes.
you don't stay in there. I hope we have been able to, answer your question. But that was a Holy Ghost
accountability partners because it is very important. You are so right, and to be able, and then if you're spiritual fathers are not checking on you, then there's something wrong. With that, if it's like it's always one way, so there's something wrong. So I totally agree with you that you definitely need that.
Yes, it's very important. You need that one person. I'm telling you. And me sitting in here, you need one person that you can call.
Yes.
Okay, and it's not. I have some friends. We don't talk anything about church.
Right. Right.
When we are talking, nothing about church.
Yeah.
We don't talk about church stuff. We just talk about ourselves.
Yes.
Maybe we're gaining weight.
Yes.
Maybe, hormones is wacky. We just talk about ourselves.
That's important.
How we are doing, our mental health. Let's go to shopping and let's have fun. Let's go to movies and let's go and have lunch. Nothing about church. It's just us. You need those people. I'm telling you, ministry is stressful. Ministry is heavy.
Very stressful.
Don't break down because God didn't call you to break you down. God called you to lift you up. Yes. Okay? So you need to have a break. Have a break with your friends. Have time for yourself. Okay? Have time for yourself. It's very important. You need people that will support you when you are doing some things. Okay? So it's very, very important that we do that. It's just amazing. But woman of God, this emotional abuse thing, sometimes when we are in together as a husband and wife, how does it affect our children?
Oh, my goodness. It affects them greatly. A lot of times people don't think their children are hearing, and if they don't hear the emotional abuse, because sometimes the husband or the wife is doing it silently or secretly when they're not around. But kids can pick up on the parents' vibes. They can pick up on atmospheres, and they know that something is off because they're a part of you. It can affect them in their school. It can affect them in their life. I remember watching my mom, and I know she doesn't mind me saying it, but being emotionally abused.
Oh, she has a whole book of that.
So she really don't mind.
Go and get a book and read.
I remember watching her as a little girl because I'm a preacher's kid, and her ex-husband would emotionally abuse her in the home, and we're in the other room, my sister and I, and we would hear these things, and and sometimes it would just go over one thing. But as I became a woman, I remember hearing those things. And so that thing was rooted in me because I heard it being done to my mother, which is a part of me. And it began to affect my life to not trust men.
Wow.
To not trust people. Because of what I saw in the household or, what I felt. So it affects kids greatly. So we have to be careful of what we say in front of kids because kids are sponges. They pick up everything. And they will apply it later, sooner than later. And we just pray that they, break that cycle before they get into adulthood because it will affect their adulthood.
Yeah. And woman of God, sometimes I realize that, I call them bullies anyway, but sometimes I realize that like when you are in those relationships and you say something, they tell you, oh, you are too sensitive. Or, you are too emotional. Or even they use this word, you are too crazy. You making me crazy. Like you are too crazy. Is that good?
So no, it's not good because, of course, if it's a woman, we are emotional beings.
That's
God
it.
made us to be emotional. That's why we cry about everything. Sometimes we're emotional. I mean, whether it's a good gift or a bad, something bad. And you know what? And with you asking me that, it reminded me of a wonderful woman in the Bible who went to God in prayer about a situation of what she needed God to change. She needed a miracle. I'm reminded of Hannah.
Yes.
Hannah was emotionally abused by Penina. Like, it was horrible. And that's one of my favorite stories in the Bible because it showed that if you go to God in prayer, if you be persistent, and if you go before him and seek him, that he will do what your antagonist is trying to tell you that you can't do. And so she was just so abused and telling her, you know, I could just imagine she was saying that you're less than a woman because you can't have a baby. Like, man, and a boo-boo, I got the baby over here, but you don't. But what Hannah decided to do is, I don't know how long she was being emotionally abused, but she decided to make a change. Whether she was being sensitive or not, she cried before the Lord, she wept. But she decided to go to God like, I don't care about the noise that's going on around me, but I'm going to go before God in prayer so that I can get something that I never had and what you promised me. So,
wow, that is deep, okay? That right there is deep. If you are joining us, we're talking about emotional abuse, and I love what the woman of God was just saying about Hannah right now.
Oh, my God.
You know, she went to God. She went to God emotionally scattered, you know, crying that so much that even the priest missed, you know, thought that she was drunk, but she wasn't. It was because of all the abusive, you know, words from the rival, throwing every morning. If you think you're a woman, you to have a child. When we are talking as mothers, are you going to talk? You know, those were really emotional abuse. And sometimes you just have to go to God, especially those of us who know, let's go to God. But Williams have another question. She said, would the church call law enforcement if the abusive a case brought to us? Oh, yes. Just 2 weeks ago, we saw that one of our daughters were abused physically.
Wow.
And we asked her to call the police.
Yes.
We asked her to call the police. We don't joke with those things.
No.
Once we see it, we will do something about it. No way you have to call the police if you see that, you know, physically something is not right. Please call the police. Don't leave them. Let them go and answer to the police. You know, I think it's very important we do that.
That's our duty. We have to do that.
We have to do that. Wow. So, woman of God, what would you say to a typical person, you know, woman or a man? Sometimes we forget about men. So men too.
They are emotionally abused a lot.
So men too is being abused. I read a book that the man of God, before he will come and preach, the wife will address him very bad.
My God.
I mean, very bad. We insult the man. Oh, it was so bad. And he will still come and preach. So, you know, sometimes it goes both ways. It's not just women that are being abused, but sometimes men too are being abused. And as a church, when we see that, please, when you see something, say something. I think that have to be our theme for this abusive relationship thing that we've been talking about. When you see something, please say something. It's very important. When you see something, say something. It's very important. But what advice would you give to somebody watching that has been going through some abuse, and how can they come out of it?
You can come out of it by getting up.
Oh, okay. That's great.
That is the best advice that I would give you, just like I was mentioning Hannah. Hannah could have stayed in that situation, and she could have allowed Penina to keep on torturing her, to keep on telling her what she could not do. Even though she knew what God was calling her to do, Hannah decided to get up through faith.
Yes.
The Bible says that faith without works is dead.
That's
and
it.
you have to get up in your faith. God has given all of us a measure of faith. And sometimes we try to compare our faith with our counterparts and compare our faith with other people because their faith may seem to look here. But I just want to let you know on today that your faith is good enough.
That's
and God
it.
has given you that measure of faith in your own belly to get up out of that situation. But it's going to start with your mindset, a mindset of saying that I'm tired of what the enemy has been doing to me. I'm tired of all of the name calling. I'm tired of sitting here just being abused and being called and being physically hurt and allowing the enemy to mentally mess me up when I know that this is not what God called me to do. So I have, and I know you have, all of us have at some point had to get up out of that situation and get out of it. And I don't care how many people want you to get out of it. I don't care how many people will put you in the situation. But when you make up in your mind and be focused that I'm going to get up out of this situation so that I can thrive, then that's when it will happen. So my best advice to you is to get up out of that situation like Hannah did and take it to the Lord and you watch God work it.
Wow, I cannot, stress it enough. And I thank all of you for watching today. I thank you for all your contribution. But please, if you are in any abusive relationship, that's why we are doing this show. Please, as a woman of God, the best thing, get up.
Get up.
Get up. Maybe you think there is no help. Nobody will help him. Oh, he paid the bills or she paid the bills. Please, there's help. There's always help. There's always help. God makes way where there seems to be no way. There's always help. Because you haven't shared your story, that's why nobody is coming to your aid. Because you haven't get up, that's why it looks like you are down there by yourself. Anytime you get up, you would see people up with you. Okay? My husband always said that God doesn't sit, we sit, and we go, we sit. So when you get up and you start moving, you will have people that are going to move with you. Whether you have children or whether you don't have children, don't expose them to those things. Get up, let's move. And God himself will help us. But please don't stay in there. Okay, don't stay in there. Your life is very important. Your life is worth living. Don't stay in there. Okay, it's very, very important. And if you need help, please always reach out. You can reach out to me. You can inbox me. Victoria Krepi, Instagram, Victoria Krepi, everywhere. You can inbox me. YouTube, everywhere I am, you can inbox me. And guess what? This show is just amazing. You want to share it with somebody that you know that they're going through something. It will help them, okay? And Lady K is here. Lady K, how do we get to you on social media? If anybody need to, inbox you or get to you, how did they get to you?
Yes. So you can reach me on Lakeisha Spears. It's Lakeisha without an I, Lakesha Spears. And then also through our ministry page, World Shakers Church of Atlanta. So so you can inbox me. I'll be happy to pray for you. I don't even have to know. You could be anonymous about your situation. And that's the thing. I'm not too deep into what or who or when or why. Sometimes people are going too deep, but I just want to pray for you because I know the power of prayer, and I know that prayer works and it changes things, and God can do a whole 180 in your life if you get up.
Wow, that's good. There's a question here we have to answer before we go.
I love it.
He said that how common is abuse in intimate relationship? How common it is in intimate relationship?
So how can one be abused?
No, how common is abuse in intimate? Sometimes people think, oh, he loved me so much. So our relationship is very intimate. But how common do we find abuse in those relationships?
Oh, very commonly. That's probably one of the number one. Yeah. I would say that's number one. So that's very, very common, especially when you enter into a relationship and you don't know who you are. So I suggest that people know who they are before they get into relationships. And I know me, I was so young getting into relationships, so I didn't know I had to find myself. I was a kid, but once you know who you are, you won't allow anyone to abuse or taint what God has called you to be.
Yes, that's good. So I hope we answer your question. Once again, thank you so much. This is your own Victoria Krepi, woman of influence. That's what we do here. Please follow me on Facebook, a Woman of Influence, okay? Like the page, share the page with your friend. You can follow me, Victoria Creppy, my personal page. Instagram, we are there, Victoria Creppy, and Woman of Influence too on Instagram. YouTube, we are there. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, okay? It's a little bit sad, you know, we are all over on Facebook, right? So we need our YouTube also to be bumped up now. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Victoria Creppy, Woman of Influence, and let this ministry be a blessing to somebody. If it has been blessing you, let it be a blessing to somebody. But thank you all for the support. You can still go to our website. You know, summer is here. We have beautiful T-shirts there, beautiful things, beach towel, you know, cups. They are all in our website. Just go and order something for your girlfriends. And guess what? Every purchase go and help with Hands of Grace, the charity work that I do. It goes and help. So just go to womanofINF.com, the website, and just order something there, and that will help to feed a child, that will help to take a child to school, that will help a widow or a pastor in a remote area, and that's all that we do. It will help to increase the kingdom of God among us. So thank you so much for your support. I'm very, very grateful, and I will see you next Tuesday, God's willing. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and go out there and influence your generation. God bless you.
We look forward to seeing you next week as we explore another topic of interest. The preceding program is sponsored by the partners and friends of Women of Influence and GraceplaceTV. For more information on the Women of Influence show, please visit our website at www.womenofinf.com or follow us on our various social media platforms. You can watch our past episodes on our Women of Influence YouTube channel. Please be sure to like and subscribe. If you have a question, comment, inquiry, or testimony, we would like to hear from you. Feel free to email us. This show will not be possible without the support of viewers like you. If you would like to partner with us or donate to the Women of Influence show, you may do so by any of the provided mediums. Thank you.
Women of influence. The glory of the Lord shine on you.